TIFU by saving an invasive species. The past 2 days have been sub 50 degrees Fahrenheit, sub 10 Celsius to save anyone conversion time. In South Florida, which is fairly unusual, I found a green iguana nearly dead at my door, and I instinctively brought it inside, put it in a large plastic container, warmed it up with a hairdryer, etc. until it was basically healthy again. I completely forgot that it's an invasive species in Florida that's been causing many problems. So I'm now trying to figure out how to resolve this situation. I want to bring it to the local animal control center to take care of it. I'm sure it'll annoy some people, especially when nature was already going to take care of it, or I'm considering a bullet to the head or carbon dioxide poisoning. Dry ice inside a cooler, since they are considered the most humane and legal ways to kill it. Any advice from people with proper experience or even expertise with this situation would be appreciated. The thing's just chilling next to a jar of warm water while eating banana slices while I'm having a moral dilemma right now. Peas. And no, genuinely sorry to anyone that loves iguanas. I don't want it as a pet. I'm not a fan of iguanas and feel very uncomfortable around them. They're obviously not for everyone. I just didn't want to see it die. TLD or mistakenly saved an invasive species. Green iguana. From the cold. Not sure what to do now. Y'all need to chill. Here's what we know. Op doesn't seem like the type to be able to kill it without feeling guilt. That's okay, but suggestions on killing it won't help. It may, almost certainly, have a pet ancestor. But this is a wild animal. It is not a pet. It wasn't socialized as a pet. It has no experience in long-term captivity. And there are risks to making a wild animal a pet. Giving it away as a pet is not an option, particularly when Op is in an area where they are invasive. It being made a pet isn't really an option. And that's before you factor in legal implications, which leads to it being invasive. Op can't just release it, that would be irresponsible. The population itself likely only began with a few individuals, so the negative effects of releasing it would be cascading. It would likely have many offspring, and it and all of them will take a toll on the environment. Releasing it is not an option. It is not made moot by saying it was already outside being invasive. It could also mean legal trouble if Op was caught releasing it. Regardless of the local population already existing, if you grab a purse during a store robbery, it isn't excused just because the store was already being robbed. Animal control has limited resources. It isn't that they are doing nothing. It's that they're doing what they can with what they have. In some places tourism exists to hunt and eat invasive species. So particularly these iguanas can be willfully overlooked. I am not for that attitude. I am just aware of the pressures animal control faces. Op said they would contact animal control to have them take care of it. And I believe that to be the best possible result for all involved. The iguana won't contribute to the ecosystem imbalance. It will be humanely killed. And Op won't have to do it. Time to move on to a new thread. Good work, Op. Your heart was in the right place. That iguana was going to die anyway, and thanks to you it got a great last meal. You also helped the environment. And got to exercise your love for lil animals. Not an awful takeaway. If it needs to be euthanized, don't try to do it at home. There's too many ways that can go wrong and you'll cause more pain. Either call animal control or go to a vet. It may be possible for it to be transferred out of state for adoption, so I'd consider calling some non-kill shelters that accept exotics to see if they can arrange something. Iguana. It's what's for dinner. If your first thought was to rescue it, I don't think you would be able to kill it without feeling guilty. So don't do this. You kept an animal alive by rescuing it from the cold, and afterwards you found out it is invasive. Call animal control and let them handle it. I'm confused how carbon dioxide poisoning is particularly humane. Ever actually inhale pure carbon dioxide? It's the CO2 in your blood that triggers the urge to breath. It makes you almost instantly go from fine to I'm suffocating OMGIDing like you haven't had a breath in a couple minutes. And it burns. Send to Guga. You could try posting this on our iguanas. CO2 poisoning is far from humane. It causes extreme panic and distress. I've heard raccoons eat them. So maybe see if you can make a friend who gets a meal. I ate iguana once in Mexico. A local kid broke a piece of hard candy in his mouth. Like a peppermint. Put one of the pieces in a slingshot and shot it out of a tree. Tastes like chicken. I caught, killed and ate a few invasive crayfish years ago. I still feel bad about it. I wouldn't kill the guy yourself. It doesn't sound like you're the kind of person who can do stuff like that without any chance of feeling guilty. Honestly, I'd just throw him back outside when it warms up. They say the cold snap is over. At least in the Midwest. Yeah, I know you're supposed to kill invasive species, but that ship has sailed and he was already living out there anyway. You aren't changing anything. A pet iguana is a massive and expensive responsibility, and it would take a huge amount of work to get a wild adult iguana calm enough to be handled when needed. You're right to not keep it up. If you can't take it to animal control or release it, a bullet to the head would be quick and painless. See if you can find someone to adopt the little dude. If he's an invasive species, it's true that he probably shouldn't be let back outside. But that doesn't mean he deserves to die. Someone can bring the little guy a lot of joy. And vice versa. Just open the door and let it go out the way it came in. I know and understand what an invasive species is. But if it bothers you that much, just turn your back and let it go. I don't know if I'd try to save it or not. But if I did, I personally wouldn't be able to kill it after saving its life and feeding it and all. But that's just me. Perhaps it is humans who are the invasive species. I've heard you can throw it in the freezer and leave it there for at least 24 hours, or maybe it's 48 hours, and it will freeze to death. They taste pretty good. Kill it. Also live in South Florida. They fall out of the trees. Put it in the freezer for an hour. Then put it in a sock and bang it on the counter as hard as you can. The proper thing to do is to kill it. The easiest thing for most SFL homeowners is to freeze it. Then either remove or crush the head. This is a humane disposal method for reptiles and amphibians. The FWC also has suggestions on their site. Animal control won't do anything, except maybe curse you under their breath as they dump it back out in the parking lot. If you can't or don't want to kill it, just let it go back in the yard.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.